finally on the way to getting a Pi-hole installed on Debian. We had a couple of minor hiccups that you will find that there are going to be some variations between Debian 9, 10, and 11. My recommendation, based on experience so far, will be Debian 10. The reason being is Debian 10's been out for a minute, so it's a little more stable, and it's more up to date in my opinion. Okay, so now that we are on the right track, if you do not have PuTTY installed already, you will need to download it and make sure it's installed, and then on top of PuTTY, you will want to install MT-PuTTY. MT-PuTTY directly works with PuTTY, but it has a few other benefits. As you can see, I've added, I got three, servers or three systems I use command line interface for. One's a MikroTik router, which was briefly touched on in a previous video. Then I have my primary DNS and then my secondary DNS. Now, tonight we're setting up the secondary DNS. So, one of the, as I mentioned, some of the benefits is that I go in, I put in all the settings, for this machine, which, I already got the IP address for the virtual server. Then I have, the, display name, which is secondary DNS. So that way I know I can identify a lot easier the machines that I'm working on. And then the username, if you've ever used Linux, obviously it's going to be root unless you specifically change it to something else. And then the password, obviously. And then after you fill out all of that information, you're going to go down here. And this will already be filled out, so I'm just showing you for, interest's sake. It will have the command line to log in. So once you type everything in, you can hit the OK button, and it will have your server's name in there. Double click on it, and it will obviously log you in. Now, as you can see, I have, I don't have to type in the username password, it's already done. So now that we have, access to our server, and the assumption here is that it's already been updated. So if you have not run the updates on it, then you will want to type in apt-update. Okay, make sure you space it out, apt space update, and then it's going to go through do an update check. Obviously I don't have any updates because I just updated a few minutes ago when I tried to make this video before. Once it's done that, you type in apt space upgrade. When you do that, it will automatically install all the packages that need updated. So now that we have got that done, we are going to go back. We've already gotten rid of Apache. All right, there. I'll put links to some of the sites that I have used to make that happen. Or if you have any specific questions, we can do that. So one of the things that you do is after you go through the uninstall process, which I will go through the uninstall process to and this should kick back some errors because it's already been done. However, one of the sites that I use, let me drag it over here for you, is this one, askubuntu.com. Now, I know Ubuntu and Debian are a little different, but some of the command line things that you type in are pretty similar. So as you can see, I cheated. I highlighted, I'm going to hit copy. Now I'm going to come over here and I left click or right click, I hit enter button. Then it's going to tell me that the Apache, because I've already removed it, Apache 2 is not installed. So it's not removed because it can't remove something that's already there. Okay, so now that you've gotten rid of Apache, this is where things have a tendency to get a little interesting. All right, now I cheated again, and I used, this, site to install Pi-hole. As you can see, I highlighted it and I cut and pasted it. Again, there's no shame in doing that because I prefer to keep things simple. Okay, so now we are going to, because of the issues we had earlier, we're going to go into and reconfigure the Apache. Basically it's going to reset everything that was done because of some of the installation errors. So once you do that, you hit the OK button. It's going to go through the standard process of, tells you it's going to be an ad blocker, yada, yada, yada. Then you hit the OK button. If you want to support Pi-hole, you can donate on their site. Hit the OK button again. And then it's going to ask you if you understand that this is a server, so it needs a static IP address. You hit yes. Then, now, your upstream DNS providers, you've got several options. You can even customize your own if you want. Now, for me personally, I just, leave it, with Google ECS, DNS sec. But I do have options to add, or I can make my own, whatever. But to keep things simple, we're just going to go with the default Google. Hit the tab button, then you see, hit the OK button, then you hit the OK button again, tab and OK. Leave all the defaults as they are, unless you have specific reasons not to, depending on your environment. But for most home users, the defaults are going to be just fine. It's going to tell me that my username, password, all that stuff is unchanged. Now, because I did not write it down, because like I've always said, you need to change the password to something you can remember. I'm going to hit the OK button, and the installation is complete. So now that we have that, we will want to open up a new window in our web browser, and then here we will type in our IP address, which is 199.231.185.94. And then, because we're going for the admin interface, you want to type in /admin. Now, this takes just a moment. As you can see, this is the initial web interface that you will see for the Pi-hole. Now over here, what you do, you click the login button, and then obviously we don't know what the password is, so the password has to be changed by command line. So we will click forgot password. It will give you a command to reset the password. Now, and this is why I said you've got to change the when you first set up Debian, you got to make it as strong of a password as possible. And some Linux users are going to tell you to not use root, and they'll give you a list of reasons, and technically by the book they're right. Then you get into some more challenging things where you have to deal with sudo, and you have to enable sudo privileges, that sort of thing. However, for the intent of the way these videos are going, we're going to use root and keep it simple. So now that I highlighted and copied that particular command, I'm back. Now, as you can see, I'm back in my command interface for the secondary server. So I left click it and I type the command. That's going to ask for the new password. I will type in the password that I want, and you will notice that it does not actually show up on the screen, which is actually a good thing. I wish Windows did this. I type in the password twice, and then if the password matches, it's going to say new password set. So once you're done with that, you can exit out of the command interface. When you do that, you're going to see MT Putty ask you if you want to reconnect. And you just hit the close button. You're back out at your MT Putty interface. And we still have our web interface from the secondary server. So we will type in our new password. You can save it in your browser if you want. Now, as you can see, this has very basic, overview of what's going on. Obviously, because we just set this server up, there isn't anything going on. So, what we will do, we go down to settings, and then we have an option called teleporter, which I will show you how that works here in a minute. So I'm opening up a new browser or a new window, and then I will click on the primary DNS. I will log into it just like I did the other. And then I go down to settings, over to teleporter, and then I will click on the backup function. Now I will hit the save button, and this is taking all those settings I have for stuff that's been blocked or added from the primary server, download them into my download folder, and then I come back over to the secondary, and I hit the restore button. All right. Actually, before I do that, I have to hit the browse button, and then I come over to my downloads folder, which you can see right here. I hit the open button, and then after I do that, I hit the restore button. And then it will add all of the entries that I had from the other server. Okay, so now that we have set up Pihole DNS, now we are going to go into how to configure your network to use both of your servers. So as this will be a quick brief view, because we're doing everything in Unify, and then we'll make some changes in MikroTik as well. I'm not going to go through step by step on this, because we, up to a certain point, I've already covered a lot of this material in previous videos that I have submitted. Okay, so this is where the changes happen. So first thing we're going to do is go into the LAN network, and how we have first the primary, we're going to leave it alone. Then we're going to I forgot to cut and paste that. All right, so we're going to come over here. Let's see, and we want 199.231.185.94. Alright, so I will copy that, come over to Dream Machine, and I will paste it. Now, it obviously is going to take the HTTP part, so you take that out, and you have just added the second DNS. That is for the LAN. Now, what you will do, you will need to do that for the your other networks as well. So, since we have an open Wi-Fi network, we will add that to the network. And now that we have done that on the Unify side of things, we're going to go into MikroTik and make those changes. And again, I'm not going to, go through step by step on how to do all of that. The reason being is that this is all, covered in previous video. So we will, we can come over here, and I will, paste. And again, like I said, just take out the HTTP. Actually, we're going to keep, we're going to do it this way. So that way everything kind of matches. And then let me go back over here and get my 199 server. and then I will, highlight it, copy it. Now come over to that, I will click paste. Make sure I remove the HTTP out of that address, and then once that is done, I will, hit the apply configuration. So now that the configuration has been applied, to make sure that everything works, you can go to any website you want. In my case, I'm just going to use speedtest.net because it's easy, it's simple, and not to mention it'll give me an idea of how much bandwidth I'm pulling from my ISP. It does take just a tiny bit, but it's not too bad. My bandwidth usually is right around 150 or so, but because I've got other things going on in the background which I'm not showing on the video, my connection's going to be a little slow. So now that we have verified that everything is working, now it's done the upload speed. Now you have a fully configured Pi-hole system. Now what I'm going to do is, and we'll get into more specifics in a future video, I will make available a generic backup on things to add on the add lists and things like that. So let's say, and if you really want to test your configuration, go to google.com and type in anything, which iDrive, which is something that I'm implementing, is backups, that sort of thing. You will see on Google several of these things that says add. Now click on the add. It says that this page was blocked. If you would like to whitelist it, you can whitelist it. However, we're not going to. This is also no VPN thing too, which is another program we'll get into. So as you can see that our DNS is set up, it's working. All of our internal traffic is going out to one of the to the primary DNS. If primary happens to fail, then the network will send all the traffic to secondary until the primary can be brought back up online. Now, as I've said before, you have different options. If you want to do dedicated servers, you can. They're pricey. I think I did it there for a minute, and it's like $50 a month. However, I've went to virtual, and for the 2 servers that I'm running for my network, I'm paying like $25 a month. $12 a piece plus tax. And I've dealt with this company for a number of years. They're called enterserver.net. I encourage you guys to go over and check them out. However, I must say that I have not been compensated. I have not received any kind of kickback or any kind of benefit from any of the providers that I have featured in my videos. Pihole DNS is open source, so you can run as many different machines as you want, and you'd still be technically legal. Unify is its own company. I use their hardware. Done that for a while now. I've not received any kickback from either them or MikroTik. This is stuff that I'm using in my own home network. Now you can go in, and when you first set this up, you're going to run into some situations where certain things might be blocked. It may block some of Hulu, Netflix, stuff like that. You can go in to whitelist it, but we will cover the whitelisting and the blacklisting and all that stuff, hopefully in a video for tomorrow. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to drop a comment below, or send me an email, and I will try my best to respond to you guys in as quick as I possibly can. As always, stay safe and have a good night.